You're probably taking too many supplements, and the wrong ones. If you've ever stood in front of a shelf full of bottles or watched 10 different health videos and walked away more confused than before, I get it. The problem isn't that you're not trying. The problem is, nobody ever stopped to tell you what actually matters. That ends today. Let's start with the one that surprises people most. You're almost certainly low in vitamin D, even if you think you're not. Here's the thing nobody talks about. The official recommended daily amount for vitamin D was set to prevent rickets. That's it. Bone disease. Bone disease! Not to keep your immune system sharp, not to lower inflammation, not to protect your mood through winter. Just rickets. So when you take the typical 600 or 800 IUs that most generic supplements contain, you're doing the bare minimum to avoid a disease from the 1800s. Your blood levels will stay low. You'll still feel off, and you won't know why. People with darker skin, people who live in northern latitudes, people who are carrying extra weight, or anyone with insulin resistance tend to absorb vitamin D less efficiently. The sun helps, but modern life keeps most of us indoors. And food? Nearly useless as a source. Now here's the critical part that most people miss. Vitamin D raises calcium in the blood. Take it alone, and over time that calcium can end up where you don't want it, in soft tissue, arteries, joints. This is why vitamin D3 should always be paired with vitamin K2. K2 acts like a traffic cop, directing that calcium into bones and teeth where it belongs and keeping it out of everything else. They work as a team. One without the other is incomplete. Many people report feeling noticeably better within weeks of getting their vitamin D levels up, better sleep, better mood, less stiffness. And research suggests it may play a meaningful role in reducing inflammation and lowering certain health risks. But it only works if the levels are actually where they need to be. Speaking of sleep, let's talk about magnesium, because this one changes things fast. Most people have heard of magnesium, but almost no one is getting enough of it. And the reason is sneaky. Your blood test probably came back normal, which means nothing. Because most of your body's magnesium, we're talking over 99%, is stored inside your cells and in your bones, not floating in your blood. Testing blood magnesium to check your magnesium status is like checking the puddle outside to judge how full your water tank is. It tells you almost nothing. So what does magnesium actually do? It's involved in over 300 enzymatic processes. It helps your body produce energy at the cellular level. It regulates how calcium enters muscle cells, which is why low magnesium can mean cramps, tightness, and that relentless tension in your neck and shoulders. It activates vitamin D, meaning if you're taking D3 and magnesium is low, you're undermining your own supplement routine. And it raises GABA, the calming neurotransmitter in your brain that helps you wind down at night. The form matters a lot here. Magnesium oxide, the kind in most cheap supplements, has an absorption rate of around 3 to 4%. You might as well skip it. Magnesium glycinate absorbs at around 80% and is gentle on the stomach. Many people who start taking it report noticeably deeper sleep within a few days. That alone is worth it. That alone is worth it. The second reason most people aren't getting enough, magnesium used to be plentiful in well water and spring water. City water has almost none. And the soil most of our food is grown in is depleted. You'd need to eat an unrealistic amount of leafy greens every single day to hit what your body actually needs. Now here's where it gets interesting, and this is the one most people sleep on. Potassium. The RDA is 4,700 milligrams per day. Most people aren't getting half of that. Not even close. If you're doing a low-carb or ketogenic diet and you're feeling flat, tired, or mentally foggy after the first week, That's not fat adaptation. That's potassium depletion. The shift in how your kidneys handle fluids on a low-carb diet flushes electrolytes, and potassium goes first. The solution isn't to give up on the diet. The solution is electrolytes, specifically ones with meaningful amounts of potassium. Watch the labels, though. Many electrolyte products are loaded with maltodextrin, a cheap filler that spikes blood sugar and undermines everything you're trying to do. For anyone who exercises regularly, the demand for potassium goes up even further. Every muscle contraction, every heartbeat relies on it. Many people who start paying attention to potassium describe it as suddenly having a second gear they didn't know they were missing. Now let's talk about something that affects every single cell in your body, and that almost no one in the modern Western diet is getting in the right ratio. Omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. The reason this matters so much isn't just that most people don't get enough omega-3. It's that most people are flooded with omega-6. Seed oils, sunflower, canola, soybean, corn are in almost everything processed. They drive omega-6 intake through the roof. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is somewhere around a 1001 or 2001. Most people in Western countries are sitting at 20,001 or worse. That imbalance is pro-inflammatory at a systemic level. EPA specifically functions as a powerful, full-body anti-inflammatory. DHA is a structural fat that your brain and the retina of your eye are literally built from. When DHA is low, cognitive function, memory, and mood can all suffer. Fish oil or cod liver oil covers both. If you read a label that says 1,000 mg of fish oil, check the EPA and DHA content specifically. That's what counts. And if you're dealing with chronic inflammation, autoimmune conditions, or joint issues, research suggests doubling or tripling the label dose may offer more meaningful support. Sardines are worth mentioning separately. One can contains roughly 900 milligrams of omega-3. They're inexpensive, shelf-stable, and one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. If you can get past the idea of eating them, they're extraordinary. And now the one most people have literally never heard of, and it might be the missing piece for everything from hair loss to low energy to why your skin looks dull. Trace minerals. Buy. These are minerals your body needs in small amounts: zinc, selenium, iodine, manganese, copper, and others. They're called trace because you don't need large amounts. But you absolutely need them. And most people aren't getting them. Here's why. Modern farming depletes the soil. When you grow crops at industrial scale and only add back nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium to the soil, everything else gets stripped away over time. The vegetables grown in that depleted soil look the same. They weigh the same. But they didn't contain the same minerals they would have 100 years ago. The animals raised on those crops don't either. Zinc alone affects immune function, wound healing, skin repair, and testosterone production. Many men with lower than normal testosterone levels are simply zinc deficient. Selenium is critical for thyroid function and has antioxidant properties. Iodine is essential for every cell in your body and almost universally underconsumed since we stopped eating as much seafood and organ meat. If you're eating shellfish regularly, oysters, clams, mussels, you're covering a lot of ground. Liver, especially beef liver, is extraordinary for trace minerals. Brazil nuts are one of the only reliable food sources of selenium. But if none of those are regular parts of your diet, a quality trace mineral supplement fills the gap. And this is the part most people don't expect. Many people who start supplementing with trace minerals report visible changes within weeks. Nails grow faster and stronger. Hair looks better. Energy improves. Skin clears up. These aren't dramatic claims. They're what happens when the body gets something it's been quietly missing. So here's where we are. 5 supplements. That's it. Vitamin D3 with K2. Magnesium glycinate. Electrolytes with potassium. Omega-3 fish oil. And a quality trace mineral supplement. Not 100 things. 5. And here's the thing I want you to hold on to. You started this video feeling overwhelmed. You probably had a mental list of 15 things you were supposed to be taking, or maybe you'd given up on supplements altogether because it all felt like noise. What I hope you're feeling right now is something simpler. A direction. Your action step for tomorrow, pick one. Just one. Start with magnesium glycinate tonight if you want to notice something fast. Or vitamin D3 with K2 if you know you're not getting sun. Pick one, commit to it for 2 weeks, and pay attention. That's it. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these 5 have you already tried, and what actually changed for you? Drop it in the comments below. The answers are always more interesting than people expect, and they might help someone else reading this figure out where to start. Coming up next, I'm going deep on potassium specifically, why so many people are depleted without realizing it, and exactly how it's affecting their blood pressure, their sleep, and their workouts. That one is worth your time. More of that is coming. This video is based on current research and personal experience. It's not a substitute for working with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have an existing condition or take medications, check in with your doctor before making changes. But for most people, these basics are a solid place to start.